beta. Very, very exciting. I know, like many of you, I have been waiting for this for over 3 years. It feels like I only just found Illuvium yesterday. But really what it is that everything's coming to fruition and it's really exciting. And I've even seen a little bit of information behind the scenes. It's going to get even more exciting in the coming weeks. Okay. I cannot stress that enough. I cannot say what that is or what that's about, but it is going to get even more exciting. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going good, man. Dude, are we on live on YouTube? I'm refreshing it. It's not. Oh, there it is. Ooh, let me mute it. Yeah, things are good. I missed last week. I watched a little bit of what you did. You carried that, so appreciate you for always looking after it. Yeah, I
I
think
had
there's
I had
some.
Sam on.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, there was some interesting things. Yeah. I remember that. I remember that. So yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting moving into open beta testnet, and then obviously the big thing that everyone's super excited for is actually
Mm.
mainnet when things really go live. So yeah, let's see what topics we have in store today and start smashing this out.
I think the big thing we're going to cover at the end is the alluvial hunt, which was really cool. And I want to talk quite a bit about it. So we're going to get into that as well. I haven't actually participated in either of the hunts. I've just been absolutely slammed with a lot of content I wanted to make and stuff like that. But hopefully next week I'll be able to get back to playing the game. So I'm looking forward to that. So let's jump
Yeah.
into the first thing. Dimitri has dropped a screenshot of the upcoming Illuvium cinematic intro v4 graded. I think in my experience, graded is typically the very last step that you'll go through before you release something. So it sounds like the cinematic is complete. It is 33 gigabytes and 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And it is 4K resolution. All very awesome. I cannot wait to watch this.
Yep, it's very cool. I don't know what else like. So we've got a couple of variations. We've got a hype trailer. I believe that's already been. I'm going to say things that have already been said, so I'm not spoiling anything. So that I'm very very excited for everyone to look at that. That's it reminds me of. Do you remember when the gameplay trailer came out and it was like delayed slightly and everyone was going crazy in Discord? It
Mm.
and then we watched it for the first time. The music, the visuals, everything of it was like, damn, crazy. I think, not even I think, I know this for a fact, but this upcoming trailer way better than what we had back then. So yeah, keen to see what that how that's received by the public. That's going to be interesting. And then yeah, we've got the actual like intro cinematic that the players are going to see inside the game as well. So everyone that's been asking for lore, it's legitimately right around the corner at this point. So yeah, cool stuff to expect.
I think it's going to be funny. Like, we're going to see if keeping lore secret was worth it in the end and stuff like that. I'm sure it was,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's going to be really funny. I'm looking forward to it. You can even go back and watch the original gameplay trailer, and you can see that it's a little bit dated. It didn't stand the test of time that well. Like, it's solid, but the music really carries it and always had. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to this. It's going to be much higher fidelity, much higher quality. And it's going to
You
come
haven't
out right
seen
before a
it,
game
right?
comes out, which is going to be cool. No, I haven't seen anything.
The community hasn't seen it.
Um,
Yeah, cool. No, community
to be
council.
fair, if someone internally did give me the opportunity to see it, I would probably say no. I think I would like to watch it with everyone else at this point. Even if I like got hired by the team tomorrow, I'd be like, no, still don't want to see it until launch. You know what I mean? Like,
Crazy.
I think I would. I think I would wait it out. Let me know in chat if you guys would wait it out or not. I don't know if I'm weird in that respect, but yeah, I think I would.
You are. You are. But no, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's right around the corner now. So yeah, I'm just excited, man. We're just so close. I know we've said that in the past, but it actually feels like we're not even it feels we are. We're just very close to where we need to go right now. So
Hmm.
a little bit more. A little bit more.
Hmm. So the next thing we've got is Dimitri hasn't dropped too many leaks this week, unfortunately, but we do have this one where we have all the different fleesh. Um,
Why do you
honestly,
say
fleesh
that?
fleesh is
Why
one
do
of
you
my
say
favorite.
fleesh? Why not
How do you
flish?
say it? Fleesh. It's got two eyes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's flesh.
So it's
I
flesh.
don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, you guys tell us in chat. How do you guys pronounce it? Like me, the correct way, or like Scaria?
Because of my Italian background, I tend to take things quite phonetically sometimes.
Right,
And
right,
Italians have this weird way of doing it with double letters, where they really pronounce both letters. And so
right.
I can't ignore doing that. I just can't.
I'm assuming that me being in China for a long time has made me forget a lot of these phonetic rules, and I just say what sounds right.
I like saying fleesh.
I
It's
mean,
like
you do you.
volante.
Yeah, Volante. I say Volante. There's no other way to say that, right?
It's volante.
Oh my goodness. Yo,
All
my
right.
man.
So the next one we
Italianizing
have
everything.
is from Aaron, where he says that they usually show something substantial after our monthly team meeting that happens the last Thursday of the month. So that is going to be coming soon. What's the last Thursday of the month is next week, isn't it? It's probably like the 31st of May or something.
Yeah. I believe these videos that he's talking about usually comes the first week of the month.
Hmm.
That's the I think Llama did a pretty good job, or does a pretty good job every month. So yeah, always cool stuff to expect out of that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Have you seen anything behind the scenes? Do you know if there's some great leaks coming with this installment?
Not I genuinely see them not the same time as you guys, but during these meetings, or Llama will usually show us in the marketing team a little bit before the meeting, so he'll ask us for our opinions. But no, there's a couple of things that I've seen artwork wise behind the scenes, but nothing super exciting that I would say, oh my god, this is coming. I'm gonna be surprised just like you guys.
I think a Forge leak would be super cool, like an animated one. All right.
Ooh, I have seen the new Forge in. You're talking about the physical Forge or the UI of the Forge?
Both, but the physical one mostly.
Yeah, I've seen the physical Forge in the internal build this morning. That's cool to see. Like it's a whole different thing now. In terms of the animations, I haven't seen that, but
Hmm.
yeah, and I know the UI stuff is pretty much done. It just needs to be implemented. So that,
Hmm.
like we've all said it before, I think the thing that let the current version of the game down the most is the Forge UX UI. So once that gets improved, I think that's It sounds so nerdy that I'm excited about a UI UX update, but I think that's going to be a huge addition.
Dennis
Fleisch,
says Fleisch.
yeah, no, he's ban him from his channel.
Muted. My God. That's so funny. All right. So the next thing we've got here from Aaron is something I didn't actually quite realize, not in its entirety at least, where the prices in the Sepolia testnet don't actually reflect the final prices in game. It's just that since things are free right now, it's hard to get good data without making them expensive, which makes a lot of sense now that he's said it. But basically, the more expensive you make things, the easier it is to try and like assess the data on if things are priced correctly or wrong or whatever. So getting Illuvials will be within reach of a lot of people, like Pokemon cards. Getting all the Illuvials hollow will be more expensive, and getting them all dark hollow will cost even more, which is the way it should be. But access to the games isn't really dependent on getting hollows. Hopefully, he hopes that makes sense, and keeps in mind that some people can't afford to buy cards at all. So we have to draw the line somewhere. But games like Gauntlet and the Tier Zeros will cover those cases. I'm really looking forward to Gauntlet. I can't bring myself to play TFT, but I am really looking forward to having a casual game that I can play like one match of when I get home from work. I do that sometimes. Even at the moment, I'm doing it mostly with Nyan Heroes. I'll get home and I'll play like a game of Nyan Heroes, and then I'll get to work with all my stuff. The overworld's a little bit trickier to do that, not only because you'd have to pay money, but you have to go into the overworld, figure out where you're going, hit all the right ores you want to hit. It takes a little bit more focus, but I like the idea of just something casual. You can jump in, jump out really quickly if you need to, which is the same reason I played League for such a long time. You know what I mean? Like
For
it
sure.
felt like you could just play one game a day if you wanted to, or two or whatever. Yeah.
For sure. The biggest takeaway from this episode is how weird you pronounce things. Did you say, how do you pronounce Nian? How do you say that?
Nyan.
Nian. Okay, cool. I would say Nyan Heroes, but let us know in chat who's correct.
It's Nyan Cats from the song.
Is it? Oh, okay. Maybe I'm well off. I say Nyan Heroes.
It's a
but,
whole
okay.
song. We're going to listen.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, I'm just uncultured.
We're going to listen to the song.
we're not going to do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, man. Regarding the price of it all, yeah, I think it all makes sense what Aaron is saying. I think once we move into mainnet, people are really going to see what that really feels like. In terms of Gauntlet, I don't play TFT at all. I'm very keen to start trying out Gauntlet, like properly, and seeing what the free to play version of that looks like. But I really am excited. I really want a Leviathan mode in Gauntlet as well, where it's what you have. I don't know how that gets implemented. I'm sure it's already being planned out, but I'm very excited for something like that, where
Well,
what you bring in is what you play. Even in 1v1 arena, I'm not gonna lie, I really want that mode where even if we both have an Atlas, the level matters, the stats matter. Like that's, I don't know. Maybe it is just a Wells game. I don't know, but it feels like you have way more agency in that
well,
than what we have currently.
you make a really interesting point, because some of my favorite Web3 NFT games have actually been 8-player games, right? Because they're really interesting, where you get this ladder of rewards. So, for example, if you have an entry fee, now I don't know if we're necessarily going to have that or what form it's going to take, but let's say you have an entry fee and it's like $1, right? Or like $5. And you go in. If you lose the $5. But since they have 8 players that are all paid an entry fee, a lot of games can do this thing where if you come fourth, you might get $3. You get some of your money back. If you come third, you'll break even. Come second, you get $10, and then first you'll get like $20, and you'll get like a 4x on your money. And so you have this thing where you don't feel like it's win or lose, and you're going to either win money or lose money. It's a lot more like if you do really, really well, you're going to win a lot of money, and if you do semi well, you might still break even, sort of a thing. And it's a lot more exciting, and it feels a lot less gambly in a certain weird sense. And it's just a more enjoyable
There's
experience
just
in terms of the wagering side of the Web3 crypto side of things.
yeah, it's just technically less risk of, it's not a 50-50, right? It's
Hmm.
not you win or lose. Yeah, so it
Yeah,
makes sense.
it's more exciting too, because it's you like 1 or 2 rounds into Illuvium Arena 1v1, you could probably be like, shit, I'm probably going to lose this. Or you can in a lot of TCGs. It's a really big thing
Mhm.
where if you have a really crappy draw on round 1, 2, and 3, then you're pretty much boned. But in an 8-player round robin, it's not quite like you've got lots of chances to catch up, lots of chances for things to change. It's just more exciting overall, and you're less like, I'm just going to lose until you're like 3/4 of the way into the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's this one here where he says it's an onboarding mode to get people into the ecosystem, as we've just been talking about, but you'll see some demos soon. Do you know when we might be able to get these demos?
I believe that the small group of players like yourself that were testing out Beta 4 before the public, I think you guys will be the first ones to get it, just to get that initial feedback. When that happens, I'm unsure, but I know that we're starting to test it internally already. So I can't imagine it being too far out.
Have you tried it then, if you're testing it internally?
I've tried once. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's not a game. Like I'm not a TFT person, so no. I'm keen to learn a bit more about it and actually spend some time into it in the next couple of weeks. On the
But
next
actually,
week.
on that note, I think it's something important we should talk about is how long did it actually take them to build out the gauntlet? Like the build you've played, is it super buggy or anything like that? Or did they build it pretty quickly?
Uh, Relatively quickly. I think most things now are set up in place that building things out is just way more efficient. So yeah, it's not something that took as long as it did previously in terms of the multiplayer thing. We've already got that in with
Mm.
what we have now with Ascendant. So a lot of the trial and error things that we had to go through, we don't necessarily have to go through, or it's a variation of what we've already accomplished. So yes, now there are 8 players. So we need to get that sorted. But the multiplayer function is there, right? But yeah, it's just a lot faster. Development is a
Mm.
lot faster than it's been in the past, and that's for all products. Not beyond. Zero, Overworld, and Arena, and I mean technically beyond, but yeah.
Mm. So moving on from that, like we saw from Aaron before, we can see that even Kieran is chiming in on the subject where the data team is working on how rare the Illuvia should be, how hard it should be to capture them, how often you find them, and all the rest of them. And the data team is working through it. So they want catching all the Illuvias to be reasonable, but it's unlikely that it will be comparable to a mainstream game. But it shouldn't also be so ridiculous that only whales can do it. They aim to find a middle ground. And really, if you go back to the physical card analogy, even if it was like an entire collection for a set cost like 200-300 USD to obtain, then even that would make sense to a certain extent. You could probably go more expensive.
It's usually more than that, right? If you were to get like a Pokemon set, how many booster packs would you need to complete that set? You'd be looking at about 400 or 500. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, so you can get
you talk.
It's something
chat
like
GPT this.
It's something like 36 in a box, and a box is about 150 AUD. And typically with 3 boxes, you pretty much got a complete set. You got to buy some of the spares, but you don't have all the secret rares. Those are take you way longer. You might as well just buy all of them. So I'd say about 400-500 AUD to pretty much have everything except maybe Ramfire and Ophisto in Illuvium equivalent terms. So like 300 USD, as I would say. But that being said, Pokemon releases a set every like 3 months, and Illuvium might be every year. I don't know. So there's that as well. You need to consider where Illuvium is going to release cards a lot slower, or release sets a lot slower. So that does need to be factored in to a certain extent. But yeah, I would say 300 USD is quite equivalent.
Yeah, I'd say My bet would be around that 300 to 500. But yeah, that's a pretty large delta in between.
Yeah, pretty much. So the next thing is Kieran says that he's sorry for the delayed response to messages over the last week. He just had his baby girl Charlotte last week and took some time off, but he's back now. So a big congratulations to Kieran. Finally having his baby girl. Very exciting. So that's really going around Illuvium, isn't it? Everyone's having kids.
Yeah, everyone's kind of feeling the bull market coming back. It's the optimal time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the community discussions that have been happening over the recent weeks. It's nothing too crazy, but I think they're worth talking about here. The first one I've got for you is Dr. Spoon has made a proposal regarding streamlining future land sales. Essentially, it would set up a series of parameters that would say whether the DAO can or cannot sell a land sale at this time. Not particularly necessary, but it does. It's one of those things where when you have a future council, like let's say our current IMC, none of them are on a future epoch. You kind of want their brains and kind of how they were viewing this situation to carry through. Otherwise, a lot of things get lost on the weeds. And if you can put that into IIP form to help inform future councils, inform the community, and put everyone on the same page in written form, I personally think that's a really good thing. And I tend to advocate for that sort of stuff. I know not everyone thinks it's necessary, though.
Yeah, that's a very valid point that you bring. I personally would still err against it. I just think that setting arbitrary rules, arbitrary parameters, again, there's way too many variables in the future that we don't know of. And I'm not saying this so we can come out and do land sales every second week. But I think less government is better than more. I think we can trust the people and the IMC and the councils to make the right decisions depending on the variables at hand when it comes. So I don't think an arbitrary kind of restriction like this makes sense. That's just my perception of it. But you do bring up a valid point. I think it's just how you would like to see things run.
Yeah, everyone has a different perspective on it. I would say that I'm probably the minority, and people are more in your camp as well, and that's fine too. So the next thing we've got here is from Lizard King, where he says must have additions to the game. Content is key. These are all a given, but I think they're still really fun to go through, and we can talk about that a little bit. Where he first says the in-game marketplace, where players won't have to exit out of the game browser. I keep mostly within the game. I must admit, having to do some things in the browser, a lot of Web3 games have that right now. It is kind of annoying. Parallel has slowly been integrating things into their client, which has been a big improvement. That's the most noticeable one I can think of that I play. But yeah, it's quite annoying.
The
So I
most
look forward to that.
Yeah, the most obvious solution is Steam. Like, I think even having it where it's the transparency, like a transparent version of it comes up. Like, I think something like that, right? Not a transparent, sorry, an opaque. But
Yeah.
regardless, I think the way Steam does it is really good if it's not built into the client itself.
Mm.
Like, you can still use the browser. That's not an issue. Just don't have me have to minimize it. And, like, it's just, it's a pain point. We're very much aware of we're looking to get that sorted in due time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The second one is, and I have a feeling Aaron's mentioned Sanctum Mesa multiplayer many times, so I hope this is
There
soon.
is
But
some information about this potentially coming out relatively soon. So keep your eyes open about this. Yeah, I mean we all agree. There's no one here that disagrees. This makes sense. Part of having the skin is showing off to your mates, talking crap. So yeah, absolutely.
on that
Uh,
note, there's two things I want out of multiplayer in Sanctum Mesa.
mhm.
Okay. The first one, Lizard King mentioned, proximity chat. That would be awesome. The second one, okay, is being able to show off your alluvials. Just it was everyone's favorite feature in Heart Gold Soul Silver when they brought it back in Pokemon Let's Go, where your Pokemon can follow you around.
Even in
If you
Power
do
World.
that, yeah, even in Power World, if you do that, that's what matters the most. I don't even want multiplayer if it does not have that, honestly.
Okay, I'll take that to the team that you won't accept multiplayer unless that's in. So if that's not in,
I won't
we're taking out
even care that
multiplayer.
I won't even care that much about it unless it has that feature in it.
Cool. No, I mean that's obvious. Again, we want to kind of show off our hollow, dark hollow, like that's what's up. So yeah, I mean it's a given.
I expect it to come in phases. That's fine too. It is what it
Yeah.
is. And then adjusting master shards and redo shard captures and that sort of stuff. Is another thing.
I mean, we agree on
mentioned.
all three of those points. Yeah, the first two, bring it up again, just so I can refresh my memory. Yeah, first one, working on it. Second one, keep your eyes peeled. Third one, yeah, like data team is constantly looking at that already. So absolutely.
So the next thing is here from Yeetbra, and this is a really interesting proposal where he suggests a 100-to-1 ILV token split. And this is going to come back and we're going to go through and write up a proper proposal for this soon, I think, where he's suggesting a 100-to-1 token split. What's interesting is there's 57 upvotes and 65 downvotes. And so it's quite a heated topic. And when it goes into governance ideas, I expect this conversation to be a really major one in the Illuvium community. 100-to-1 split makes a lot of sense in pretty much every way. It would benefit the project a lot more than you might think. The only thing is there are a lot of downsides as well, with the time taken to do this and all of the cons of essentially somewhat rebranding the token has all of its negatives as well as all the implications with staking. And so there's a lot of great upsides, but its feasibility is quite unknown. So that's going to be a big part of the conversation, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm not for or against it. I understand it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I completely understand that as well.
And so the next thing is actually one I just posted. I haven't seen any responses to it yet, so sorry about that. But I just posted this one. I talked about it last week, and I kept getting people ask me to post it in feedback chat, and so here it is. Basically, have NPCs in the game where you can do a variety of the other games inside it. For example, you can run up to an NPC and do an auto battler, or another one might challenge you to a kart race inside on a track inside that same region. So all that sort of stuff, bringing the interoperable blockchain gaming experience all inside the Illuvium overworld through the use of NPCs and things like that, as well as outside of it. Really making everything feel even more interconnected than it already would have been.
Yeah, I think, there are a lot of variables, but yeah.
So I saw this video. I haven't quite watched it. Have you seen this?
Nah.
I've skimmed through it. I don't know if it's any good. I hope it is.
Well, I'm glad you put it on the list.
You know me. Okay, let's do it.
Super. Love you.
All right. I should have watched this first. I like
Actually,
it, but it's not that good.
blowing my ears, man. What's funny though
There's
is
too much
in
flash footage. There's just too much flash
yeah.
footage. And too
What's really
much,
funny
yeah.
though is internally there was a bug when you did use that skill that you would physically turn into the Flash and you would just go run like. And I figured that bug out internally before we put it out. It was hilarious. You'd be running around. It was absolutely mental.
Like really, really fast.
No, like action. So imagine it would trigger the effects again and again and again and again and again and again and again, like without any time off. So it'd just be stacking on top of each other. So you get increased speed, increase like it would just how Scoriox would turn into a Gatling gun. It'd
Yeah.
be that, but running. Like you would actually turn into the flag. It was mad.
That's so
was
funny.
mad.
We should do that. Probably blow up your PC.
No, it was sick. It was sick. It was cool.
All right. The last thing we should talk about is before we get on to testnet beta coming out soon, is the Hunter Series Challenge. And the big thing I wanted to say here is this is a huge improvement on the Hunter Challenge from the past two Hunter Challenges. They changed it quite a bit in the one main way that I hope they would, where it basically rewards skill more. It rewards grinding too, a little bit too much, but it mostly rewards skill more. So basically what happens is you're going to capture those 5 alluvials, and if you have multiple sets of them, you get extra raffles into the prize draw. Now, I do wish these prizes were higher. I know it's a testnet beta, but these always felt a little bit low to me. And maybe if you've like 3 winners and there was 8 ILV each or something, I don't know. But like,
glad that you say that. The reason I'll give some clarification. The reason that we didn't want to go super big on the
sorry.
The reason that we didn't want to go super big on these alluvial hunter series is it's a private. It's not that it's testnet, that it's private. Doing huge prize pools for when we have a bunch of comments saying, "Hey, I want to get in. Why can't I get in?" It didn't feel right. So we've kept the incentive relatively small, but there. One thing I can say is, again, keep your eyes open for when open testnet comes out. We are going to do a much larger hunting event than what we've seen so far. We've seen that these hunter series initiatives have had a huge impact on active players, playtime, all of those metrics. So the marketing team has really come together. Dick being at the forefront of it to really nail something down that I think is going to do very, very well as we transition into open testnet.
I'm looking forward to it. I think this will be a really fun experience when the game comes out in like major longevity. Like imagine logging on for the day and today there's just like a global event for the next week. Capture as many squids as you can or something like that.
Yeah.
I've
been telling, sorry to cut you off. I've been telling Dick to do this one. I think it'd be hilarious, but there's a cucker infestation. And for every cucker you catch, you get 1 raffle ticket. So you're just out there just trying to capture as many cuckers as possible. Or like Archie, you could do the same thing there. But like, yeah, you can do like an infestation where you need like, there's so many fun kind of narrative things that you can do there.
And so, yeah, I mean, that would be like the way Aaron's spoken about the Illuvium lore before. It actually makes me feel like this is one of the things he always had in mind, where there's global events that everyone's working towards in one way or another. And this is a really great way where you can do it consistently with different alluvials. And you can pretty much, it almost feels like you can flick a switch on and off because it's all on chain. How hard could it be to download all the wallets and just calculate who wins, right? Like, so this would be almost too easy to do frequently in the game. I mean, obviously you got to give out money every time, but in theory, you can only get these things by paying real money. And so it makes sense from a marketing and a revenue perspective. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
No, 100%. 100%. No, there's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I've been in talks with some other partners behind the scenes as well for when we do go into mainnet. But like I say, expect something cool and real fun for open beta testnet, and when mainnet hits, if all goes well, I think we should do something at a even larger scale again.
Actually, Aurelian asks a really good question that we should probably cover. Aurelian says that he's heard the people who play now get flat points for the 20k ILV distribution, and after the 28th, you get more the more you play. So we all know that there's a dashboard of some kind coming out, and the idea is going to be the more you play or the more you do your daily tasks and all that sort of stuff, the more ILV or the more points you get on the leaderboard. Do you know when that's coming out?
The dashboard, if I'm not mistaken, look, I'll say stay a little bit patient. I think there's going to be some news about that coming out very, very soon. I don't want to speak out of turn, so I won't say too much about that. But I know that we did have a discussion about that today, about how that's going to get relayed out to you guys, or to the public. So I would say just bear with the team a little bit, and there should be some news coming out about that very, very soon. But in terms of a dashboard, there will be a dashboard. The idea is that it comes out, I think I can say this. Look, don't kill me if I get this wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, that's planned to come out during the testnet phase. So we can start testing that out. And that's going to transition into mainnet. But yeah, the dashboard should, in theory, be available during the testnet phase.
I always expected it to come sooner. Do you know what happened with that, or if it got caught behind, or this was always the plan?
It was actually never the plan for dashboard, as far as I'm aware, for dashboard to be out for testnet. It was only meant to be out for mainnet. But I think we've seen this question multiple times, which is why we want to address it in a way that's as transparent as possible.
Yeah, it's come up a lot. There are a lot of people that have registered for the Illuvium beta because of all the airdrop content. I mean, Illuvium dropped a big blog about it. Obviously, I made my fair share of content. And so this has been a major talking point for the newcomers to Illuvium. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As long as it's in by open beta, I think that's important. But at the same time, it would be nice to have it for at least testnet beta for sure.
It's a must. It's a must, and it's a guarantee for mainnet. That's out of question for that not to be the case.
So with the testnet beta, do you, from what I've seen, okay, from like the big release to everyone on testnet, from what I've seen, there was a lot of people asking to get in on day one of the private beta. Let's say, what was that? April 30. There are a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to get in, I want to play and all the rest of it. Personally, I've seen a lot less of that lately, but maybe that's just because I'm in that bubble. Do you think there are lots of people still itching to get in and are going to be excited to play when it goes out?
I believe so, yeah. So we've seen it now on our socials where we put out a hunting series. And again, a lot of the comments are, wow, you guys are putting out this initiative or this event and we don't even have access yet. So there's a lot of that. I'm still getting hit up by a bunch of influencers saying that, hey, a lot of their community hasn't got in. They want to get in. I still think that the number of people interested is huge. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm glad. I knew someone else had probably seen it better than me. I haven't seen it a whole lot. But do you think people are going to enjoy the game? How do you think everyone's going to approach the testnet beta? There's going to be a lot of confusion to begin with, that's for sure. I've seen a lot of people have trouble with the tutorial.
Yes. There's something that I'm personally working on that I'm hoping to get clarification with Kieran after this stream. I think that's going to help a lot with expectations for what the beta is. In terms of, okay, it's not a finished product. There's still, from what we get in testnet, from what we got from beta 4 to open beta testnet to mainnet, there's huge leaps between each of them. More so between open testnet and mainnet. So I think we just need to communicate that effectively. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think there's still a bunch of things that need to be done. Very simple quality of life things like UI UX. I think the Forge is still going to be a headache, but I think once we get those in, it's going to make a lot more sense.
So you just talked about a jump in features, quality, whatever, as we open it up to more people. What's being added?
Mhm. I don't know if I can. Well, I don't know if I can say that 100%.
Like the teams talked a lot about things like ethereal alluvials and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So
Is
that
some of that being implemented?
look, I need to be very careful with what I say here. One thing that I can say. Look, I'll give one leak. I'm sure Kieran's not going to fire me for giving one leak. But one of the features that, if I'm not mistaken, is guaranteed to be included is the ability to level up alluvials, XP and leveling through arena as well. So capturing them and in Overworld and playing in arena is going to level them. You're going to have that UI, that UX to really show you them progressing. That's one of the features that's being implemented. There's a couple more that I'm unwilling to share just because it's not my place to do, or we've got a plan to do so. But that XP feature is one that I'm okay to share with you guys. I hope. Maybe I get fired, but I think I should be all right.
All right. So the next one here from Willis. He asks, when will the loyalty airdrop be distributed? We have no idea, but hopefully before open beta or soon after.
Yeah. Yeah, correct.
What's the leap between now and open testnet? Like 3 days, 5 days?
Yes, correct. About 6 days, yeah.
Yeah, 6 days. So is there anything else you want to talk about? Like, what is going to be the best strategy? What is going to be the best strategy kicking off into testnet open beta? What would you do? Have you played much of the beta so far?
A little bit. When we first came out with it, I played quite a bit, and then I just got super busy with everyone wanting access. Look, the biggest tip that I would give for someone brand new coming in, I think most people here already have access, but for a brand new player, what I would say is grind out for 2 hours in tier 0, doing nothing but mining. It might sound boring, but just get the supreme stuff. You can legitimately get that in about an hour, 2 hours. Like, it's not a crazy amount. Just run back Crimson Waste multiple times, mine, and you can get, even if you don't get supreme, get advanced, right? Like, just put yourself in a better position than the majority of players. That alone is a huge tip.
I really wish I did that. I think I would extend on that and say just spend your first day just getting a bunch of the early drone equipment, weapons, the supreme gear. Drop like 8 hours into just shooting rocks back and forth, back and forth. Just do it. Get all the stuff for your like extra 8 alluvial slots or whatever it is and all that sort of stuff. Just get all that gear straight away. And then the rest of it is a lot more interesting in my experience.
I'm very excited for open beta, man, with the drones. There's a lot of changes coming. So when mainnet hits, yeah, again, there's something that I'm working on that should be coming out relatively soon, which is really going to highlight a lot of the things that are yet to come.
And yeah, well, with that, it looks like, hold on, it doesn't, we probably won't have a reset for testnet, but they haven't decided 100%. It's probably not reset.
Believe there's going to be a reset. No.
Yeah, technically they can't actually reset. I mean, they can't delete your alluvials. They can just kind of like delete the back end data, and I don't know if that sounds like a lot of effort. All right, so we have got to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Download. Don't forget to tune in next week. This is episode 45, and as I said to TSG before we started, I realized that if we have 7 or 8 weeks until even open beta mainnet, we might actually be timing this for 1 year of the download, wrapping up basically when the game launches. So that should be really interesting.
Yeah. It's crazy. We were saying behind the scenes as well. Yeah, it's been 45 episodes of the download, which is crazy. But we were doing Augment for such a long time. Man, we've been doing this
At
for a
least a
very
year.
long time.
Yeah, this is about a
Way more.
two-year
Way
show
more.
waiting for Illuvium to release.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of fun, that's for sure, and the
It's
community's had a
been
lot of
good.
fun with us too.
Yeah, appreciate everyone for like sticking around. Those that are new, old, everyone. I hope this provides value. I know it's a bit tough sometimes with. I used to be a lot more liberal with the way I used to speak, but I'm trying to be a bit more professional while still providing the value. My goal for being on this is not my show at all. It's Scariox. It's his channel. My role here is to try and be a bridge between community, creator, and the team. So I try and give you guys the most up to date stuff while trying to leak what I can without really breaking breaking what I shouldn't. So I hope that it's valuable to you guys. If it is, let us know. If you want to see something else, let us know. We'll try and listen. Maybe not. We might disregard the input and feedback completely, but at least it's worth putting it down.
All right, and with that, we better wrap up the show. And with the